Good morning. So as you've just seen, we actually got some rain. It was amazing. We got 20 mil and oh gosh, we needed it. It had been just so long since it had rained. So the thing though with that rain coming is that between that rain and the heat, I now have to desperately cover my capsicums for the Queensland Fruit Fly, because that is one of the things that encourages them to start breeding is a bit of rain. And we have been so dry up until now that it kind of hasn't been a problem. But now that we've had that decent little bit of rain, we could very well see an explosion of population in Queensland fruit fly. So I am going to go down now to the veggie garden and I'm going to start covering up my capsicums, and I'll probably cover up a few tomatoes as well. And I'll just have a bit of a chat with you guys about the Queensland fruit fly and how we manage it. I'm also hoping to get a bit of fertilising done. It's been quite a while since I've done any fertilising. So I've got some worm wee, which is actually worm sludge at the moment. I think it has been so hot that all of the liquid has evaporated and it is now very, very concentrated. So I'm going to have to dilute that quite well. I've also got a liquid potash. I think this is high in potassium, which is apparently good for fruits and blooms. So figured I've got things that are fruiting and blooming, so maybe I'll put some of this on. Anyway, we'll go do that. So we are down in the capsicum bed and I have my bags and I'm going to start bagging these capsicums. I've done one already. So basically the Queensland fruit fly is one of the major pests in our area, particularly targets the eastern coast of Australia. There's also a fruit fly, I think it's the Mediterranean fruit fly, which attacks Western Australia. So the fruit fly, I'm not going to say its proper name because I will butcher it, but I'll put it up on the screen. It is a pest that comes out mostly in warmer weather. So what happens is the fruit fly lands on your fruit, she stings the fruit and lays her eggs. And the eggs hatch within inside the fruit and they develop into larvae, and that's what they eat, is the fruit that they were hatched within. And they also release a chemical that actually speeds up rotting. So your fruit basically just rots from within. So it is, as you can imagine, quite a damaging pest. And if it gets in big enough numbers, it can absolutely destroy an entire crop for our farmers and that. It's also quite a big pest for the home gardener, because as you can imagine, these capsicums that I've been working on growing for so long, it would be absolutely heartbreaking to have these destroyed by a fruit fly. So combating this, it's not really something that you can just ignore, unfortunately, and hope will go away. I suppose you could accept some sort of loss, but then you're actually perpetuating the cycle by allowing that fruit to fall onto the ground and rot. And so the advice is that you need to maintain a clean veggie garden and orchard when it comes to the fruit fly. Fruit fly will attack basically any soft-ish fruit. I think you can even get some pumpkins and watermelons and that sort of thing. If it can pierce the skin, it can destroy it. So there's a huge list that you can look up of all of the affected fruits, but basically anything you want to grow is pretty much fair game. So down in our orchard, we have already covered the one nectarine that we have that has made it so far, because they are prime target. Other things in the garden that I will be covering is any large tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes don't seem to be affected quite as much. They can also get cucumbers. I haven't had too bad of luck with cucumbers yet, so I haven't been bothering to cover those. Maybe because they grow so quickly. Zucchini is another one that can be targeted, but again, because they grow so quickly and you're harvesting so regularly, I haven't had such an issue with those. But things like your tomatoes and your capsicums that are staying on the bush for a really long time, they're definitely going to be target. So there are a few ways that you can combat it. You can trap. There are two types of male traps. Basically there is the trap for monitoring the numbers, which gives you an indication of whether you need to do anything further or not. There's all this sorts of information on some of the government websites on at what point you should start treating based on how many of the fruit fly you're catching in your traps. I'll link a couple of the websites down below. So there's that. And there's also some male annihilation traps. I think that's what they're called. MAT, yes, male annihilation traps. And those ones use the same attractant that the traps for monitoring use, but they also have a chemical in it that kills the males. I think it is spinosad is the chemical that they use for the annihilation of the male fly. That sounds great, but it doesn't seem to have great reports on effectiveness, I guess. Everything I've read seems to think that you need to use those in combination with another source of baiting. I think it is a protein bait, and you basically paint that onto your trees that are potentially going to be affected, and that will attract the nearby flies. I think it can attract within a few meters range. If they get within that, they can sense it, and then it kills them. I think it is also spinosad that is used as the chemical in that. I will put any corrections up on the screen if I've got this incorrect. This is definitely not my area of expertise. I'm learning all this, and I have not used any of these baits or traps. I have really just gone the simple route, but I've just been covering things. I don't have a big enough garden to really be worrying about not being able to keep up with covering my fruit, so that's the route I've been taking at this stage. Potentially when we've got, you know, an orchard with multiple different trees that are producing more than one or two fruit, it might be time for me to look into other methods of control, but at this stage the simple little bag is doing a good job. I'm sure you can pick these bags up from places like Bunnings, but I've just always bought them off eBay. They're really affordable on there, so that's a great place to look if you're looking for some. Not sure if you can even spot all these capsicums that I've got in here because they're green just like the leaves, but there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 I think that are decent size. Some of them are a really good handful size, so I'm really pleased with that. So I'm just going to get bagging now, and it's a simple matter of just taking the fruit, putting the bag around it, and then tightening the string around the stem. You want to get it fairly tight because you don't want to have any areas that the fruit fly can get in. So your plants do end up looking quite funny. Oh no, I broke that one off. Ah, damn it. Well, I guess we're eating a green capsicum this week. Okay, be a bit more careful. Okay, so yes, your plants do end up looking a bit funny with all these bags hanging off them, but it is worth it. Sometimes the aesthetic is not as important. Okay, now that everything is bagged up, let us start the fertilizing. So I'm just going to mix up some fertilizer in my watering can and go bed by bed, give everything a little bit of a top up. There is quite a big rock melon in here. I'm going to bring you down and show you, but it is super exciting. I thought we had a little watermelon growing, but I didn't know about this rock melon. So actually no, it's not a rock melon, it's a honeydew melon. Yeah, I couldn't see anything, and then you pull back this leaf here. Look at that guy. Wow, that is so cool. Okay, we'll tuck him back in. Well, I hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me in the garden today, and maybe even learnt a little bit about the Queensland fruit fly and how to tackle it in your own garden. I'm certainly no expert on it, but I'm learning more every year, and so far doing okay with the bags, so I hope they help you out too. And I will catch you on the next video. Bye guys.